Welcome! I'm so glad you decided to join us this evening. I'm Lori McLeod, Executive Director for Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities in Larimer County. You'll hear us referring to ourselves as PAFC throughout the segment. We're so happy to have you here in our office. We just moved in. We're located in Old Town, Fort Collins, and some of our segments are actually filmed in our office so that you get a glimpse of our office. We want to take this opportunity for you to learn more about PAFC and all of the solutions that we provide to our older adults in our communities. We really appreciate your partnership. We need your partnership and your donation so that we can continue to do the great work that we do. Now let's meet our board president, Joseph Moore.
Hi. I'm Joseph Moore, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of the board of the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities in Larimer County. The Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities helps advocate for a more livable Larimer County as we age. We design community solutions by coordinating collaboration across the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and we create volunteer opportunities for effective and sustainable outcomes. At the heart of PAFC's work is the commitment to enhance the quality of life for older adults in Larimer County. You could say that our next 5-year plan is a 5-year plan for the good life. As a thought leader in Larimer County, the work we do has an impact across our entire community, and we could not do that work without you. So I hope that at some point during our open house or immediately following that you will visit pafclarimer.org to explore where we've been and where we're going. I also hope you'll consider financially supporting the partnership as together we work toward creating a sustainable and more livable Larimer County. Through our website, you can either give through the Colorado Gives link or the PayPal link. Thank you so very much.
Hello, my name is John Kafalis, Larimer County Commissioner. I hope this message finds you and yours well, healthy, and safe. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, wish to express our heartfelt support for Partnerships for Age-Friendly Communities, PAFC, and their upcoming fundraising event. PAFC serves as I suppose you could say, a bridge organization that brings people together from diverse sectors of our community to solve complex problems that require collaborative solutions. One example of this collaboration with the Larimer County Commissioners is how the 4 priority areas of housing, affordable housing, transportation, mobility and access, health and wellness, and the culture of aging, how that aligns with the Commissioner's 5-year strategic plan, our goals and objectives, as well as the comprehensive plan that we adopted in 2019. Look forward to future collaborations and look forward to supporting PAFC in this upcoming event so they can continue their good works. Thank you for listening and take care.
Let's meet someone that really understands our leadership and our ability to solve problems for older adults. Bob Murphy, State Director of Colorado, AARP.
Hi everyone, it's Bob Murphy, State Director for AARP Colorado. Thanks so much for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today as you continue your work in building a very livable Larimer County. As I always say, y'all are models for the 470 plus communities across the country that are members of our network. You do tremendous work, and I thank you again for the work that you do. I thought it might be helpful to spend a few minutes going through some slides and talking about what AARP has been doing these last 8 months or so, particularly in response to the pandemic. And that really, I think, needs to be a starting point as we look forward to recovery and building a new sort of livable community in this new world we're going to find ourselves in before too long, we hope. So you all know who we are. We represent over 675,000 members in Colorado, almost 47,000 of whom are in Larimer County. We work on advocacy. We support family caregivers. Livable or age-friendly communities is obviously very important to us. Financial resilience, helping people save for retirement, and combating social isolation ever more important these days, of course, these days of the pandemic. One of the things we did this year, as you'll see in the slide, I'm going to take myself out of the picture so you can see the whole slide, is we conducted a voter engagement campaign. We wanted to encourage the 50 plus to vote. We wanted to let the candidates know about the issues most important to the 50 plus, including protecting Social Security and Medicare, lowering prescription drug prices, healthcare, of course, the pandemic, of course, and then, as we're going to talk about further, economic recovery. And we want to let the candidates know that we, the 50 plus, are the nation's largest voting bloc, and they better, doggone better, listen to the issues that are important to us. And of course, the results, we're not taking full credit for this, but we had the largest voter turnout in Colorado history this past a couple of weeks ago. Family caregiving, always a huge emphasis of ours. There are over 600,000 family caregivers in Colorado. They do this out of love, often at great emotional, mental, and financial burden. And that's why we supported Proposition 118, the paid family and medical leave measure that was on the ballot on November 3rd. And of course, that did pass 53% to 43%. Pandemic response, we've been doing so much. It's in a way, other than the voter engagement campaign, it's almost all we've been doing. We've been involved in federal legislation, including the original CARES Act, which we convinced Congress to make some changes to make sure Social Security recipients could get the stimulus checks, and we changed the required minimum distribution requirements as well. So that's delayed a couple of years. We had a very vigorous response to the proposed payroll tax cuts in August, and that to Social Security, that of course went nowhere. That was just a bad idea. And then nursing homes, we're going to get more into that in a minute, but we're currently advocating for greater oversight, transparency, and of course, funding that is tracked. In terms of the state, we're always fighting to protect older adult services. Going to be a battle at the legislature this coming session with all the pandemic-related budget cuts that we anticipate. We're always fighting to lower the cost of prescription drugs and to increase funding for affordable housing, transportation, and more. And then, of course, locally, we did what we call COVID scan webinars with our age-friendly partners throughout the state, including Larimer County and many of the other members of our age-friendly network. And that was extraordinarily helpful for people to hear from their public health authorities and their leaders to see what they were doing to protect residents. And very proud of a show that Roberto Ray put together for PBS 12 that was aired in September, The Disparate Impacts of COVID-19 on Colorado's Latino Community. It was exceptional. And he's also doing another webinar on December 10th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And more information will be forthcoming on that, but that's also about livable communities. So let's get to livable communities. As I mentioned, there's over 470 members nationwide, 14 members here in Colorado. As I said, y'all are viewed as not just an early adopter, but a national leader, particularly in much of your work on rural transportation. We have targeted 6 new communities for membership in 2021. Obviously, that was not a priority for communities who were in a survival mode this year because of the economic crash, but we have significant interest from a number of communities for next year. Our National Livable Communities Office did a member survey on COVID-19, on the pandemic, and NAFSC stands for our network of age-friendly states and communities. So you'll see that acronym for the next few slides. But you will notice that most of the respondents did say yes to the question that their age-friendly efforts and commitments to that work help them become better prepared to respond to the pandemic. And this, by the way, the survey was taken before this latest surge. I bet that answer would be even higher now. And then what are the most urgent areas for your community in COVID-19 response and recovery? Obviously, access to information, that's the role AARP played and will continue to play. But you also see the importance here on this chart of engaging older adults in social and civic activities. For the first time, we really saw food insecurity show up, and as well as access to doctors and medicine. Healthcare, of course, mental health issues showed up as social isolation increased. So I'm not going to go over everything in this chart, but we're going to amplify some of it on the next couple of slides. So again, NAFSC, is our network of age-friendly states and communities, and this is a survey that we conducted in September. So it was a very uniform response from communities all across the country as to what are the most urgent issues for COVID recovery. Again, access to information was number one. It continues to be so important. Number two, keeping older adults engaged in social and civic activities. Number three, ensuring access to food and medicine. Number four, ensuring access to health care, including telemedicine. And we're going to be advocating for increased broadband at the legislature this year. And again, addressing mental health. So the next tier was also really, really fascinating. And again, this is every age-friendly community in the country that was responding to this. Preparing for emergencies and disasters was a very high priority. I know that's something everybody in Larimer can relate to after the wildfire season that we had this year. Supporting local business and local economy. This is an emerging issue, and we are really looking for a way for AARP and our Livable Community Network to play a larger role as we come out of this, as we go into recovery. Ensuring access to transportation and mobility, addressing housing, supports and services, obviously a great concern, not just in Colorado, but across the country. Addressing the safety of congregate older adult living facilities. We have been running a national nursing home campaign since March, and we all know the unfortunate situation that many residents in nursing homes have found themselves in across the country, and we've been working very hard to get money and attention focused on this issue. And then another emerging issue is addressing disparities and systemic inequalities. We're seeing that a very common response from our members throughout the country. So how do we plan going forward? And I know that's what you all want to focus your conversations on today and in the coming weeks and months. So what priorities rose to the top as we surveyed, again, our members across the country? 95% of respondents said access to transportation and mobility. That ranked number one. And that, once again, is something that you all have paid so much attention to and do such a good job at. So I think this response justifies your ongoing work. The second one, again, preparing for emergencies and disasters. This kind of woke people up, and they want to be, across the country, want to be better prepared for the next emergency, whatever that might be. Number three, keeping older adults engaged. 90% of communities thought that was a high priority. Expanding access to work and volunteer opportunities was next. Ensuring access to adequate housing was next. And then I saved the number six for last, even though it was tied for second highest. Once again, we're at that issue of supporting business and local economic activity. Recovery starts at home. Recovery starts, people believe, in supporting their own brick and mortar small businesses, and that is a foundation in their minds of building a healthy and livable community going forward. So in conclusion, just some final thoughts. I know I've spent a lot of time talking about the pandemic. I don't know how we can't use that as a starting point as we're looking to future planning. It has obviously impacted everything that we do, and we're going to have to keep it in mind, first in our mind as we begin to move forward. But again, looking at that second bullet point, there's a clear recognition in Colorado and across the country that solutions must be locally based. Federal and state governments have proven that there is limited will and limited capacity to provide the help that local communities need. Again, the third bullet, most communities believe their age-friendly structure has already played an important role in response And then we'll play an even a more enhanced role in future planning. And again, I commend you all for getting together to take a forward look at your own planning efforts. Next one, partnerships. There's not enough money to solve these problems. We have to do it collaboratively, working together with institutions, with nonprofits, with governments, yes, with the private sector, yes. These partnerships are more important now than ever. Volunteers, always the foundation of age-friendly work, certainly your model in Larimer County, now more critical than ever. Again, the biggest emerging priorities are the potential role of age-friendly work in a sustained, locally based economic recovery. And secondly, the role of age-friendly planning work in preparing for the next emergency or disaster. Those two have really risen to the top as newer issues on the livable community level. And finally, we will, of course, emerge from this pandemic. How will this short-term this necessary starting with a short-term approach based on how we come out of the pandemic meld with your sustainable long-term goals? These are the questions that communities all over the country are asking themselves, and I know that's one that's important to you as well. So with that, thank you again so much for everything that you do. You guys, you're the best. Wish we could be with you in person, but these are unfortunately the times we live in. Thanks so much, and as always, Roberto Ray and myself are here to answer any questions. Have a wonderful event and planning session over the next several months. Thanks.
If you'd like to donate to PAFC, please just visit our website. You can do your donation through PayPal or Colorado Gives Day. If you do a donation of $50 or more, you'll receive a gift, Still Wisecracking, which is a compilation of blog posts talking about perspectives of aging. I'd like to introduce you to one of our bloggers, Barbara Fleming, who will read her blog, Conversation with a Cat.
Conversations with my cat. Living alone during the pandemic is challenging, to say the least. Introvert though I am, I find I need to be with people from time to time to nourish my spirit. Zoom is great, but it's just not the same as in person. So I find myself talking to my cat, Shadow. He is 15 years old, a gray ball of fur who sits on my lap just about every time I sit down. I tell him what's happening, and he looks at me with his catly stare, rarely responding. Sometimes he starts washing himself vigorously, inviting me to stop talking. Then later he will begin meowing at me. He has a wide repertoire of meows, from plaintive to demanding, and I can often interpret them reasonably well. The most puzzling is the silent meow, when he opens his mouth and no sound comes out. What is he trying to tell me? I expect he is asking himself the same question. What in the world is she yammering about? Still, we both persist. I look to the day when I can have two-way, in-person conversations with another two-legged creature. But in the meantime, Shadow and I are endeavoring to keep calm and carry on. At least we have each other.
Well, hi folks, it's Joe Lassard here. I'm gonna play an old Tom T. Hall song here. I've been jonesing for traveling songs a lot lately here in quarantine, so here's one called How I Got to Memphis. 1, 2, 3. If you love somebody enough, you follow wherever they go. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. If you love somebody enough, Go where your heart wants to go. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. I know if you'd seen her, you'd tell me, 'cause you are my friend. I've got to find her and find out the trouble she's in. If you tell me that she's not here, I'll follow the trail of her tears. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. She would get mad and she used to say she'd go back to Memphis someday. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. I haven't eaten a bite or slept for 3 days and nights. That's how I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. I've got to find her and tell her that I love her so. I'll never rest till I find out why she had to go. Thank you for your precious time. Forgive me if I start to cry. That's how I got to Memphis. 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 How I got to Memphis. That's how I got to Memphis. Thanks, folks. Be safe out there.
One of the things that I find so unique about our organization is our ability to mobilize our self-directed volunteer teams. They look at an issue that's affecting older adults and they come up with solutions. Talk more about our structure is Martha Conant, our steering committee chairperson.
Hi, I'm Martha Conant. I lead the steering committee for the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities. Our mission is to plan, design, and implement projects which ensure optimal quality of life for older adults in Larimer County. So how do we do that? The operational arm of PAFC is the steering committee. It's an all-volunteer organization that's composed of the chairpeople from each of our 4 priority groups, representatives from partner organizations such as AARP Colorado, UC Health, the Center for Public Deliberation at CSU, and the Fort Collins Senior Advisory Board. Plus, last but not least, community volunteers such as myself. So let me tell you a little bit about our 4 priority groups. The Culture of Aging group is focused on impacting in a positive way the behaviors and attitudes of Larimer County residents toward aging. The Health and Wellness group works to ensure that older Larimer County residents have access to the best physical, emotional, and spiritual health resources. The Housing Priority Group promotes housing options, a variety of options, so that older adults can choose what kind of housing best meets their needs. The Mobility and Access Group works to ensure that older adults in Larimer County have access to key services and quality of life opportunities. All 4 of our priority groups are composed of experts in the particular field, plus interested community members. The monthly steering committee meetings operate as a forum for representatives from our partner groups as well as the chairpeople from our priority groups to get together to hear updates on ongoing projects, to share information, and to identify any potential new opportunities that might arise. Most of our projects arise within a priority group and are led by someone in that group, but occasionally projects come up that span the priority group, so they're housed within the steering committee and led by somebody on the steering committee. So you might wonder how our priority groups choose the projects that they're working on. Right now, PAFC is working on developing its second 5-year plan. Each priority group has been asked to develop their own goals for the next 5 years. And they do that based on their own knowledge of the field and additional resources. At a steering committee meeting, the representatives from each priority group get together, they share their potential goals, and they look for synergy or overlap between the projects. Once PAFC decides on its 5-year goals, then we're committed to achieving those goals. And at the same time, we recognize that we need to be flexible to accommodate changing circumstances and opportunities that might arise. So for example, this year during the pandemic, we've taken on several unplanned projects that assist older adults, isolated older adults, to virtually connect with their family and friends. Well, thanks. I've enjoyed telling you a little bit about the steering committee and the priority groups, and now I'd like to introduce Kirsten Hartman, who leads our Culture of Aging group.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Hartman. I'm chair of Culture of Aging project. Within our Culture of Aging group, we have a group called Sound Effects, which is providing music to seniors in rural communities as well as care communities. And they have figured out how to do this during COVID. And so it's my pleasure to introduce you to Hannah Brown.
Hi, my name is Hannah Doreen Brown, and I'm the founder and program director for a project called Sound Effects Music. Our programs make quality, professional music available to older adults living in Colorado. We believe that access to music is an essential part of living and thriving, and we use creativity to help form connections between individuals living in care facilities across the region, as well as those living at home looking to connect with family and new or old friends. Sound Effects has benefited so much from being one of the programs incubated by the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities. With the support of PAFC staff, guidance, and resources, Sound Effects has been able to steadily grow and gain stability over the past 1.5 years, without rushing or having to address some of the challenges that other nonprofit programs face when on their own. The senior care residents and artists we work with benefit from Sound Effects having community support, and we are so grateful to have been able to partner with PAFC through the pandemic and the challenges that older adults are facing today. Thanks to our grant funding, our support from PAFC, and our fantastic music community, Sound Effects is continuing to bring music to residents with virtual performances, outdoor engagements, as well as personalized digital musical telegrams. We're grateful that Larimer County and Colorado as a whole supports arts that make a difference in people's lives. Today we'll be sharing with you some of the segments from our virtual concert that we put on back in June in partnership with Wish of a Lifetime. We hope you enjoy the music, and thank you so much.
Okay, let's meet Cheryl Noble. She is our communication and volunteer coordinator.
Thank you, Lori. I wanted to take a moment to talk about volunteerism. At PAFC, we have a unique model called a Self-Directed Volunteer Team, or SDVT. These teams empower the volunteers to take ownership in a project for a very short time frame. It starts out with a statement of expectations that identifies the problem, and it talks about action steps, a timeline, and outcomes. In 2019, PAFC had 2,660 logged volunteer hours. That was a 40% increase over 2018. We also had 920 volunteer hours from students. By having these SDV teams, we can bring in a broad spectrum of expertise from across our county to sit on a team and solve a problem. This way, we can build an age-friendly community together.
Hi, I'm Commissioner-elect for District 3, Jody Shag McNally. I'm here today to talk about my partnership and relationship with the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities. My relationship with Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities started in 2016 when I became aware of their services and their relationships with the Office on Aging for Larimer County. One of those was the walkable study that they did in Loveland for the downtown area for older adults to find out how we can make neighborhoods in the downtown area more accessible to older adults. And then I became aware of the One Call, One Click Center, which was helping with rural transportation and helping older adults find rides at an affordable price and convenient to help them get to their doctor's appointments and other appointments that they needed to get to. I also became aware of their ongoing programs to help work on food delivery with the North 40 Food Share, which now they deliver food for 2 older adults in the Red Feathers area, Livermore area in the north part of Larimer County, which is very, very vital and needed now at this time. Then I became more involved with the partnership personally, as my daughter and I started a purpose project called Generation Connect. So this project has expanded and we have a formal relationship and partnership with Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities as they took us on as an incubator project and helped shepherd us and helped us get this project off the ground with our partnership with CSU, Center for Public Deliberation. So I'd like to turn it over now to my daughter, Delaney McNally, and let her explain about her project and how that's grown and how it's still going on very strong today thanks to our partnership with PFAC. Thank you.
Generation Connect started as like a for-purpose project. I started just interviewing older adults in my community. The goal really just trying to connect with people. I saw a big gap in my generation between older generations and technology playing a huge role in that. Kind of spurred from a family event that happened. My grandfather broke his ankle and was in social isolation for many months, and I think we know how that is kind of going now. But we came back on a holiday and we were all on our phones except me because I didn't have a phone at the time. But he's like, guys, get off your phones. I haven't seen you in forever. Like, talk to me, right? And so that kind of spurred it, like the whole idea. And so first I was just doing personal interviews. I don't have the video equipment or editing equipment, so I never got to post those or share their stories. And then I took some of my fellow high school students to a local organization called Kids Pack, and most of their volunteers are older adults, so we would help pack bags of food with them. And then PFAC approached us, and then we started a collaboration with them and the CSU Center for Public Deliberation, and now we host the intergenerational conversation events. PFAC is important because they're reaching out to everyone in the community. A lot of people might think of them just as an older population trying to help the community, but they're really reaching out to everyone. It's Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities, especially reaching out to my project, but they're doing so much in the community to integrate everyone towards a common good in the community. Whatever happens with the project, I hope that people have conversations again, that they get that family recipe that everyone's dying to have, or to talk to a neighbor that they haven't talked to, or just really reach out into the community and have technology not be a barrier to those real face-to-face conversations.
Hi everybody, my name is Mary and I'm the lead singer for Trash Cat. We're about to play Stand By Me by Benny King. And I can't really think of a better song to be playing right now because we all need to feel a little bit more connected and a little bit more like we have people in our corner. When the night has come and the land is dark, y la luna es la luz que brilla ante mí. Miedo no tendré, oh, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. Oh, darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand junto a mí. Y aunque las montañas o el cielo caigan, voy a preguntarme porque sé que you're by me. And I won't cry, I won't cry, I won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Won't you stand by me? Don't you? Stand by me. We love you.
Hi, I'm Sue Ballou. I'm co-chair of the Housing Priority Group. One of our goals is to allow older adults to choose how they live in their houses. And one of the things that we did to facilitate that goal is help to bring A Little Help, a service group out of Denver, to Fort Collins. Since then, they've expanded to Berthoud and are about to expand into Loveland, and we're excited to say that they are an integral part of the community. Jason Morgan, who is the director of the Northern Colorado branch of A Little Help, will tell you more about it.
Thank you. A Little Help started actually in 2005 down in Denver, connecting volunteers with our older neighbors to provide resources, to provide a little help as volunteers can do in a whatever capacity that looks like, indoors, outdoors, transportation, and social services to keep people from falling into isolation when you are aging in place. A few years ago, PAFC's Housing Priority Group came across A Little Help and approached us to launch an office here in Northern Colorado, in Larimer County. And they set the groundwork. They helped us establish our model and bring it up to Northern Colorado. In fact, the very first event that I attended here in Fort Collins was an open house for nonprofit leaders and some folks from the local governments. And as I went through room to room with PAFC's executive director, every room I went in, somebody would grab me by the shoulder and say, "You're Jason? You're from A Little Help? We've been waiting. We're so glad you're here." And all of that recognition, all of that kind of credibility was lent to us through our relationship with a trusted partner. The partnership has been active in this community. They've established relationships. And really for us, they helped us launch off the bat with those relationships, with that kind of view of integrity, that understanding that when we make a promise, we're going to fulfill it because we've got good partners, because we've got good friends in the PAFC group. So we launched just a few months after that first event. We had our official first kickoff with a day of service. There were over 125 volunteers. We went and did yard work, a fall cleanup at 32 homes through Fort Collins. It was a wonderful day that couldn't have happened without this relationship with PAFC. From that time, we've expanded. Now we're through Fort Collins, in Loveland and Berthoud, and really working to serve as many folks, to connect as many people as possible in this Northern Colorado area. Thank you, PAFC, for helping launch us here.
Thank you, Jason. We really appreciate you sharing your story about A Little Help. And we're so excited that you're able to expand to the Loveland area. Thank you. Now we'd like to ask you, the viewer, to also step up and make a donation to PAFC. You can do that by going to our website, using PayPal or Colorado Gives Day. Okay, now let's listen to one of our other bloggers, Libby James.
I wrote this in September and it's called Hanging in There. 251 days of the year 2020 AD are gone. 114 days remain. On this dreary, unseasonably cold day in September, I'm inclined to wish that this year would simply hurry up and get gone. What a silly thought. Every day, especially as one gets older, is to be treasured, savored, and enjoyed. Yet maintaining an authentic and lasting positive outlook has become a challenge during this year of worldwide pandemic caused by a sneaky virus that we don't understand very well and that has thrown the whole world for a loop. The pandemic is impossible to ignore. We mask up before we go anywhere outside our homes. Many of us don't leave home at all, choosing to order groceries online and have them delivered, and giving up any opportunity for human interaction. When we're out and about, we work hard to remember to stay 6 feet apart, which makes us appear to be unfriendly when in reality we'd like nothing more than to give a friend a hug or simply engage in some chit-chat with a stranger we encounter as we walk. More and more frequently, we meet, take classes, and share our thoughts and concerns online. It's better than nothing, but communication via an electronic device can't hold a candle to all that we gain during an animated in-person interaction. And yet, as long as we're still present in this old world, vertical and capable of taking nourishment, we gotta hang in there, do our best to be in touch with each other, keep smiling, and look toward a day when COVID-19 has faded into a disconcerting memory. As 2020 draws closer to a close, perhaps we'll find new ways to appreciate each new day. It won't be easy, but there's no doubt that it will be beneficial to each of us and to those around us.
Hi, I'm Paula Stearns. I'm co-chair of the Health and Wellness Priority Group and a board member. This year our group is focused a lot on helping the communities identify resources in their communities and figure out ways that they can stay home and in their communities as long as they are able to. We really focused this year on rural outreach because we had a grant from the Next 50 initiative. And we went to all sorts of events throughout the county from north to south and got to know the community members and their needs and their resources and how they like to work together and what might work for them in the future. We were able to quickly, with COVID starting, help a group in the Red Feather areas get a food pantry going. We had been focusing on home safety, nutrition, and community safety, and so this was a project that they had really a lot of support for. In just a moment, Darlene Kilpatrick from the North 40 Food Pantry, who is also the Red Feathers librarian and outreach manager, will tell you a little bit about this program that they developed very quickly in response to COVID-19.
Hi, my name is Darlene Kilpatrick, and I work at the Red Feather Lakes Library. I'm one of the librarians there. I do programming. I'm also with the North 40 Mountain Alliance. That is a volunteer organization that also works with the library. And we help people prepare for disaster, be educated, and also to respond to disaster when it's happening and get resources and to help people recover. So PFAC, we met them through the Larimer County Connects. They connected us because they knew they wanted to get some inroads into rural areas, which we definitely are. We're very isolated and don't have a lot of resources. And they wanted to help us find out what our seniors needed, how were they lacking in resources. And we are the only resource in our area for about an hour. People have to drive an hour into Fort Collins or into Wyoming. And so it really limits and can isolate people. It's a beautiful area and people come for the beauty and the quiet, but also it can have some drawbacks of people being not able to receive help when they need it or be as connected to resources that are in towns. We started with doing meetings. We did a survey. We also did a master's project, did a photo research project to find out what seniors enjoyed and what was their challenges of living up here. And then we started meeting with groups like ladies groups and for book groups. And also with the North 40 Mountain Alliance, we have neighborhood captains. We met with them so that they could spread the word and get more information from their neighbors. That's what they do. They try to connect with neighbors and find what their needs are, and then we hopefully can find the resources to help those people out. We had a big public meeting where everyone was invited, and we had over 60 people, which is a good turnout for our little area. And what came up was transportation, medical needs. We don't have any medical services up here, and a lot of times people live up here because it's cheaper to live up here than it is downtown, but then there's the cost of getting into town. Some people are immobile or don't have the means to get into town. And the other need was transportation, medical needs, and help with things like firewood and other issues. Those are some of the main needs that came up. We had tried to schedule having a mobile clinic come up here to start offering services, and that all shut down because of COVID. And that's been one of our unexpected disasters. We always expect fire up here, but not disease that we have all been dealing with on a worldwide level. And that really has impacted families, and it's impacted seniors, it's impacted people on limited income, people that are afraid to go into town and not wanting to be exposed. And also increased isolation as it has across the world. We began a food pantry, and PAFC was one of our first funders to get us started. And we had no idea the need that was up here for food. We are considered a food desert. Again, it's an hour to go and get groceries. There are some grocery stores up here, but it's usually more expensive and limited because this is it's mom and pop stores. And we thought that we'd have dealing with COVID for a couple months. And as everyone knows, that's not been the case. The food pantry's become a major need. We've served anywhere from 100 families to 60. Half of that has been people over 60. And it's been a great way for people to come to us and for us to understand needs that people have that they wouldn't have otherwise known where to go. It's been a wonderful and beautiful thing to watch the community come together, and PAFC has been a part of that in helping us build that structure and to reach out and understand the needs that we have in our area that have been a really integral part of helping us to help make people's lives a little easier and not feel so alone.
Hi, I'm Alex Gordon. I'm a transportation planner at the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, as well as the chair of the Mobility and Access Priority Group. The Mobility and Access Priority Group is a group of advocates, transportation providers, human service agencies, and funders who are all interested in spreading awareness and access to transportation options throughout Larimer County. One of the projects that's really guided us since 2017 at least is the Senior Transportation Needs Assessment, which has since grown into the One Call, One Click Center project. Once the One Call, One Click Center project is completely realized, we will be able to help connect the people who need transportation to the organizations and agencies that provide transportation. And that'll be done through a one-stop shop for information, referrals, and again, when completely built out, actually being able to book the rides. So that's one place to be able to do all of those things. And we've been able to do this through a partnership with agencies like Transport, the Larimer County Office on Aging, transportation providers like Rural Alternative for Transportation and Berthoud. And those are just the tip. There have been a lot of partners. And obviously we could not do this without the support and the network available through PAFC. And with all of that work and support and partnerships, we've been able to actually take actionable steps. So starting December 1st, we hired our first mobility manager whose job will be to implement the One Call, One Click Center project. And with all of these successes along the way, we've been able to build support so that this will be a program in Weld County as well. And so we've done a lot, so we're super excited where we've come from, and we're super excited to see through continuing to collaborate and partner where we can go in the future.
Thanks again to AARP Colorado for sponsoring this event, and thank you again to Bob Murphy for his presentation and for participating in this event. And don't forget, please consider a donation to support PAFC's mission to building a more livable Larimer County for older adults. When you donate $50 or more, you will get this wonderful very first edition of Still Wisecracking, a booklet filled with wonderful readings of insights about growing older in Larimer County. There are two ways that you can donate. Simply go to our website and click PayPal or the Colorado Gives link, where you can schedule your payment for a later date if that's more convenient for you. So thank you.
What's up, everybody? My name is Johnny Burrows, and it is my pleasure to be singing for y'all today. I'm best known as the lead singer of a soul band called The Burrows here in Colorado. And I had the distinct pleasure of getting to sing the song Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters. I love the Drifters. I love this song. It's got some incredible melodies and incredible harmonies going on. So I decided to take it upon myself to become the Drifters. So I played the song live many times and layered myself in, and I hope you enjoy what I came up with. But most of all, I hope it lifts your spirits. I hope it gives you some joy. So thank you so much and enjoy Under the Boardwalk. When the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof, and your shoes get so hot you wish your tired feet were fireproof. Another boardwalk down by the sea, yeah. On a blanket with my baby is where I'll be. Under the boardwalk, out of the sun. Under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. Under the boardwalk, people walking above. Under the boardwalk, we'll be making love. Under the boardwalk, boardwalk. From the park you hear the happy sound of the carousel. A carousel. And you can almost taste the hot dogs and french fries. They smell so well that they sell. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea, yeah. On a blanket with my baby is where I'll be. Under the boardwalk, out of the sun. Under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. Under the boardwalk, people walking above. Under the boardwalk, we'll be making love. Under the boardwalk, boardwalk. Under the boardwalk, out of the sun. Under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. Under the boardwalk, people walking above. Under the boardwalk, we'll be making love. Under the boardwalk, boardwalk.
Friends, thank you for joining us for our first virtual open house. Thank you to our priority groups and our steering committee members, and to our new executive director, Lori McLeod. I hope you leave this event inspired. Inspired by the stories you've heard and the things you've learned. From rural food pantries, to transportation solutions, to innovative programming like A Little Help and sound effects. The partnership is working to make Larimer County a more livable community for all of us. We can't do this work without you. So I do hope you'll visit PAFCLarimer.org and that you'll make a decision to financially support the work happening through the partnership. We are so very excited about the challenges and opportunities we might help solve in the next 5 years, but we need your help to do it. Any gift amount is greatly appreciated, but if you're able to make a gift over $50, we are excited to send you a copy of Still Wisecracking, a collection of blog posts on aging and life. Regardless if you're able to financially support the work happening at PAFC, I hope you've also been inspired to get involved as a volunteer. Join a priority group or form a self-directed volunteer team to solve a problem in our community. Let us help you. The possibilities are endless, and I'm so grateful to join you in this work as together we make Larimer County a truly age-friendly community. Thanks again for joining us today.